Hi, Krystan Alexandra Bray with the Ormus Temple, talking to you about my Jivan Mukti Vrata experiences at day 2 and some of the things that have come up for me. And I'm hoping to just stimulate some thoughts and observations in you for things that are coming up in you. Hope that you'll share some of those things with us. The last thing that I want to talk about today is the idea of projections. This is coming from a little bit of reading that opened up for me this morning from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And of course, the Tibetan Book of the Dead is a book that has to do with assisting someone in their transitioning process. It consists of monks coming in with a person who has recently passed on and sitting in their presence and reading to them from this book, helping them to stay focused and to understand some of the things that they're experiencing as they're transitioning through the Netherlands, moving from the physical experience as they have known it, being in life living body in form. And they talk a lot about projections. They describe many different entities in many different forms, and they talk about how terrifying they can be. They talk about what they actually are, and eventually they always come back around to saying that it's important to keep in mind that these are actually projections coming from within the being experiencing them. And this applies in our transitioning process. It applies in our dream state. It is also applying in our waking state. Now, basically, our external environment is a direct reflection of our internal condition. And there's 2 projections that we have to consider. And this is important to really get if you're interested in the power of attraction. So the 2 projections are the collective projection, and then there's also the personal projection. The collective projection has to deal with the whole of the body. The individual projection has to do with your personal experience being projected. Now there's the astral projection, there's the causal projection, and then there's the spirit soul projection. Now the astral projection we hear a lot, and that's generally projections that we experience either in our transcendence, our dream state, or in our waking state that are directly correlated and relating to our emotional state. Our emotional state is the vibration that brings life to a consciousness to bring it into form. So we get a lot of stuff going on with the emotional projections, the astral projections. There's also the causal projections to consider, which comes from the mental state. What our thoughts and beliefs may be over and above the feelings that go with them. There's also projections that correlate with that. So, in going through the Jivan Mukti Vrata process, we are using tones, we are using focus and intention and breath. Hey, that's the whole Biff Ormus Temple is built upon, breath, intention, and focus for the tantric experience, right? But we're using those things to begin to interrupt some of the engrams that have been programmed in our body's physiology that we are thereby projecting into our external experience, our lives, our life experiences. Many of those engrams are obstructing what we really want to get in our external experience. It's obstructing our growth. It's obstructing our ability to be able to manifest according to our desires and thereby grow. And we're kind of stuck in just the projection of engrams of negativity, engrams that are fear-based, engrams coming off of fear, creating anger and hatred, creating warlike spirits, creating destructiveness, creating separatism, creating lust, unfulfilled want. And it just seems to be bottomless. Creating our tendency to get lost in fantasy, distraction. All these things are coming off of emotional based projections that are stemming from information coming to us personally. And then, of course, let us consider that at some point someone has gotten a hold of this information and has figured out how to program the collective body emotionally so that they can get a particular reaction and the external experience, feeding us into a particular realm that's actually enslaving, so that everything that we do, everything that we feel, everything that we're striving for is fear-based and is thereby feeding an egregor or a construct out of the minds of an elite few that have set forth this program. Of course, this is separatism. It is not allowing us to experience the wholeness of our being, starting from our core and then collectively. So we want to be able to interrupt some of those engrams so that as we interrupt them, they start to come up into our heart area, our divine love area, our Christ consciousness, our divine love consciousness, where they can be transformed, where they can be released first, given up first, forgiven, where they can be transcendent, transformed, transfigured to our natural element, which is love, which is an element of unity, a consciousness of unity. And it is in this consciousness of love and unity that we can begin to attract accordingly, so that we can move beyond the nightmarish experiences that we've become trapped in. I've heard it said again and again, so I know you realize it. So much of the information that we are fed is fear-based. That happens in the news, that happens in the media, that happens in our entertainment. It's fear-based and then massive distraction, so that we really don't get a chance to ever know what's going on in the world around us. So you can't catch that. And if you're hearing a sound right now, that's just a train going by. It's not a spirit that's come to scare you. It's just a train. So, but getting beyond that, recognizing that that is what's going on, we can be thereby inspired to go within and find our divinity and take our power back, take our collectivity back, our connectivity back, both of them, collectivity, connectivity, our oneness, take it back. Because it is in that oneness that you have access to everything that is. Because everything that is you. That's why sometimes when we have an astral projection experience and we're thinking in terms of being in another place, it's all happening within. We're moving actually to that place, experiencing that place in time, in the present, in the past, in the future. All of that, all of space and all of time is here, is within. So we can very easily travel there through time and through space. We can move to the future, we can move to the past, we can redefine it, because there are parallel potentiality issues to consider. So we're existing in one universe expressing a particular potential based on what we're working with. But if at any point in your life you can think of a junction where you could have made a different choice and your life could have gone off in a totally different direction, it has, in another universe parallel to this one, but you are not witnessing it from your conscious awareness. It doesn't mean it's not going on or that you can't witness it, that you can't in fact shift. But what you are witnessing is directly connected to the engrams that are associated in your core as it stands right now. So of course you can project into any area. That's why you can attract into your reality anything, absolutely anything. You're attracting by default what's existing in you in dominance. And if that is playing into all of the work that's put into our system to bring you to a fear-based response, then likely you're not getting what you're trying to go after, what you're really desirous of, because the fear is dominant. So by practicing these rituals and these practices, for at the risk of being redundant, in the Jivan Mukti Vrata, we are in essence shaking that stuff up so that we can bring it up to our awareness in our heart. We can forgive it, we can transcend it, and we can get back to our divinity. We can experience the greater expression of who and what we are, our divinity. So with that, I conclude my reports for the day on the process of my Jivan Mukti Vrata. I encourage you to respond and share your experiences. Post your questions, your comments. I'm here, Krystan Alexandra Bray, with the Ormus Temple, in conjunction with Paramahansa Nithyananda and the Jivan Mukti Vrata. 21 days. Peace.